Welcome back to the deep dive. It is Sunday, January 18th, 2026. And, well, if you're listening to this, there is a very good chance you have spent the last 5 days doing one of two things:
Oh, I know this one.
frantically refreshing a server list, or punching trees in a blocky procedural world while trying to figure out why your inventory is just full of sticks.
Or, and let's be honest here, staring at a crash report that says something about your eyebrows being incompatible with your graphics card.
Too real. That has definitely been the vibe on social media. But seriously, Hytale is finally here. It officially launched into early access on Tuesday, January 13th.
So we are, what, day 6 now?
We are on day 6, and the energy surrounding this launch is, well, chaotic feels like an understatement, doesn't it? I mean, the internet has just been consumed by this one topic.
Chaotic is the right word, but I'd also add instructive. Because we aren't just looking at a normal game launch here. We're witnessing a studio trying to pull off a maneuver that is, like, statistically almost impossible in the modern gaming industry.
It's messy.
It's messy, it's loud, but it is fascinating.
Exactly. And to keep everyone up to speed, we are not just doing a general review today. We're doing a day 6 check-in because the situation is moving so fast, like incredibly fast.
Yeah, I mean, Update 1 literally dropped yesterday, January 17th.
And that update completely changes the math for a game that is less than a week old.
Oh, absolutely. It's rare to see a patch this significant, this quickly, that touches on both, content and the core mechanics.
So here's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to cut through the marketing hype. We are going to look specifically at what has changed in just the last 24 hours.
The really fresh stuff.
We're going to talk about the sudden appearance of dinosaurs. We'll analyze the economy of backpacks, and we are going to explain why the game feels so raw.
And just quick heads up for you listening, if you've got the game running in the background or you're just picturing those beautiful sunsets and rolling hills, don't let the pretty visuals distract you. While we're out here exploring these biomes, looking at the water shaders, the real story, the real meat of today's discussion is hidden in the dry text of the patch notes.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to understand Update 1 and to understand why the game feels the way it does right now, you have to understand what we're actually playing.
Yeah.
This isn't the game Riot Games was making, is it?
No, it is not. And frankly, that's the most critical piece of the puzzle here. If you missed the Hytale is Saved blog post that dropped back in November of 2025, you are missing the entire narrative arc.
The backstory is just so dramatic.
Incredibly dramatic. Hypixel Studios didn't just release a game, they reacquired it.
Right. That was announced on November 18th, 2025, the big bombshell.
Correct. The founders, Simon Collins-Laflamme and Philippe Touchette, basically bought their baby back from Riot Games. They're fully independent now.
And it wasn't just a we're going solo press release.
Not at all. They have personally committed to funding this project for the next 10 years.
That is the part that blew my mind. 10 years of personal funding. No publishers, no investors.
Nothing. Just them. That changes the entire incentive structure.
Completely.
It's a massive gamble. No risk, no Hytale. That's the motto they've been using. But here is where we need to get a little technical, because that business decision dictated the code we are all running on our PCs right now.
The engine choice.
The engine choice. When they got the game back, they had a fork in the road.
And this is the thing everyone is arguing about on the forums.
Exactly. So Riot had been pushing development on a new proprietary engine written in C++C. The goal was this cross-platform engine designed to run Hytale on, well, everything, consoles, phones, you name it.
Which on paper sounds like the smart corporate move, right? You want that Fortnite reach.
Sure. It makes total sense for a massive conglomerate. But in reality, that C++ engine was years behind schedule. I mean, the blog, they estimated that sticking with the Riot engine would have taken another 2 years just to reach a state where they could even consider early access.
2 years. So we're talking, what, 2028 before anyone played anything?
At a minimum. And in the tech world, 2 years is an eternity.
Yeah.
The hype would have been completely dead. So the choice was wait 2 more years for a polished, multi-platform engine, or
take a drastic turn.
a very drastic turn. Abandon the C++ engine entirely and return to the legacy engine.
Right. And legacy usually implies obsolete in tech. It sounds like you're digging up a fossil.
It sounds like Windows 95.
A little bit. But in this case, legacy means the C# and Java-based engine that they used for that original viral trailer, way back in 2018.
The one they knew how to drive.
It's the original team who were modders, remember, built themselves.
Yeah.
So what we're playing today, this day 6 build, is effectively a 4-year-old build that they've spent just the last 8 weeks polishing.
That is exactly it. And that explains everything about the rawness players are feeling. It explains why the game is PC only right now, Windows specifically, with Mac and Linux coming later. They prioritized a playable, imperfect game over a perfect, unreleased engine.
It's a bold move. I mean, you don't usually hear developers say, hey, we're going back to the old tech stack.
No, that feels like admitting defeat.
But here it was the only way they could win.
It's unheard of.
Yeah.
But it allowed them to launch now. They rehired about 30 of the original developers, people who knew this C# code inside and out, and just sprinted for 8 weeks to get us here.
So when you're playing and the physics get a little weird, or a menu flickers, or your character decides to clip through the floor...
It's because this isn't the polished Riot version. This is the original vision, brought back from the dead.
It is the raw vision.
And that word is so important. The developers have been very clear. This is a raw, unfinished, sometimes broken experience. They are not hiding that.
Speaking of the experience, let's talk about what's actually in the build. Because I think some listeners might be a little confused about what Hytale is right now versus what was promised in those cinematic trailers all those years ago.
Right. If you boot up the game today, you are playing exploration mode.
Which is basically a survival sandbox.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's your punch tree, get wood, survive the night loop. The classic.
But a lot of people were expecting the RPG stuff, the storyline, the factions.
And that's the missing piece at the moment.
Yeah.
There is no adventure mode yet. So no structured narrative, no Gaia boss fights with complex mechanics, and critically no official minigames.
Which is so ironic considering this whole studio was born from the Hypixel server, which is literally the place for minigames.
It is, but they've been pretty clear that the infrastructure just wasn't ready for that scale yet. They have a whole team for minigames, but right now we are playing on World Gen V1.
V1, that implies there's a V2 coming.
Yes. The blog post mentioned a World Gen V2 that represents the complete restored world of Orbis. What we are playing now it's the first draft. It's unpolished, it's buggy.
The loot tables are all over the place.
Completely. You might open a chest in a starter zone and find endgame gear because the table hasn't been balanced yet.
But the vibe, I mean, as you see in the footage, the World Gen is beautiful. Even in this raw state, when you crest a hill and see a sunset over Procedural Valley, there is something really there.
The developers call them moments of magic. And I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
Despite the bugs, despite the weird loot, you get these moments where the systems just click. But again, this is genuine early access.
Not a marketing beta.
Right. This isn't a marketing beta from a big AAA studio where the game's done and they just want to test server load.
Yeah.
This is development in real time.
Which brings us to the present. We are less than a week in, and we already have Update 1. It dropped yesterday, January 17th.
And this is where we see that rapid cadence strategy in action. Because the game is so raw, the updates have to be fast. If they wait 2 weeks to patch things, people will just leave.
Okay, let's dive into these patch notes. I call this section the Big Three. There are 3 changes here that I think really define where the devs' heads are at. First up,
Dinosaurs.
Because nothing says we're back like adding prehistoric reptiles.
Exactly. The patch notes confirm. Added dinosaurs and other NPCs to populate the underground jungles.
It's a great headline feature. It shows they're adding content, not just fixing bugs.
It signals the creative team is active, not just the engineering team.
Yeah.
But there is a technical but here.
Of course. There's always a catch with procedural generation.
Right. It connects back to how that stuff works. The notes specifically say that because this required changes to the environment, you have to generate new, unexplored areas to find them.
So if I've already explored the entire underground jungle near my base...
No dinos for you. The game generates the world in chunks. Once a chunk is generated, or basically once you walk near it, it's saved. To get the new content, you need to force the game to run the generator again.
Pack your bags and head for new coordinates.
Got it.
Yeah.
And they also mentioned these are using placeholder behaviors, right?
Yeah, work in progress. So don't expect Jurassic Park level AI just yet. They might get stuck on trees, they might spin in circles.
They might ignore you entirely, but they're in the game. That's the first step.
Okay, topic B. This is the one that I think impacts gameplay way more than the dinosaurs, the backpack buff.
Oh, this is a huge quality of life change. If you played on day 1 or 2, you know the pain.
It was brutal. Before yesterday, getting a backpack, which is essential in a game like this, felt like a massive grind.
It was a real bottleneck. The base backpack originally required a Tier 2 workbench. That meant you had to progress through the entire wood and stone age just to unlock the ability to craft it.
And then it cost 16 medium leather.
And getting 16 medium leather when you only have 6 inventory slots it's a nightmare. You're constantly throwing stuff away you need just to carry the leather.
It slowed the game down to a crawl right when it should have been speeding up.
But Update 1 changed the math on that completely.
Drastically.
The base backpack now only requires a Tier 1 workbench. That's a much lower barrier to entry. You can get that in the first 20 minutes. And the cost?
Slashed in half, down to 8 medium leather.
It's massive. It changes the pacing of the first few hours completely. Instead of fighting your inventory, you're actually out there exploring.
Right. And they didn't stop there, right? Upgrading it is easier too.
Yep. Upgrading the backpack for the first time now uses a Tier 2 bench instead of a Tier 3. The whole progression curve for your inventory just got smoothed out.
This tells me that the developers are actually playing their own game.
Yes. They're feeling the friction and removing it. That is a very good sign.
Okay, topic C. And this one made me laugh out loud when I read it. Skeletons should no longer take drowning damage.
Yeah, this was a funny one, but also technically fascinating.
I mean, think about the logic. It's a skeleton. It doesn't have lungs. Why was it drowning?
It was probably just a default entity property in the engine that hadn't been toggled off. You copy the human class, paste it to skeleton, and you forget to uncheck needs oxygen.
It happens.
But if we connect this to the gameplay, it's actually a difficulty spike.
How so?
Well, before, if you were overwhelmed by a mob of skeletons near a river, you could just knock them into the water. Problem solved.
It was a cheese strategy. Water was a safe zone.
Exactly. They'd drown, you'd collect the loot. But now they act like the undead. They sink to the bottom and just keep walking. They're going to come at you marching along the riverbed.
That is a terrifying image. An army of skeletons marching underwater like something out of Pirates of the Caribbean.
And that's it. So river crossings at night just got a lot more dangerous.
Yeah.
You can't just swim away and hope they die. They will follow you.
So we have dinos, better backpacks, and waterproof skeletons. But beyond that fun stuff, there's the nitty-gritty, this rapid patching.
The pace is intense, and it has to be. Remember, the game is raw. If they don't patch fast, community frustration builds up and turns toxic.
One of the specific fixes in the January 17th notes that caught my eye was about elemental interactions. Fire-themed NPCs are now immune to fire damage.
Which seems obvious. If you're made of magma, a campfire shouldn't hurt you.
But the funny part is the note says they still catch on fire for now. So you have these 5 creatures running around visually burning but taking 0 damage.
It's fine. It's lore consistent, even if the visual isn't there yet. They also fixed Quebecs, the little plant people, taking damage from cactus and brambles.
Which is good because I felt terrible watching them walk into a cactus and die. They're made of wood.
Right. Nature should recognize nature. It's a small logic fix, but it makes the world feel more consistent.
Now we have to talk about the corn nerf.
The great corn adjustment of 2026.
This sounds silly, but corn was actually breaking the game's economy, wasn't it?
It was a massive oversight.
Okay.
In Hytale, you have this essence of life, which is a currency for farming. Corn was giving 4 essence of life.
And that's a lot.
It's huge. The patch note admits it was misconfigured and better than high-tier crops that take way longer to grow, so everyone was just farming corn.
It was the meta.
It was. Players will always optimize the fun out of a game. They will turn a fantasy adventure into a corn farming simulator if it's the most efficient path. They nerfed it down to 1 essence.
Balance restored. And another small but helpful change was the wood tooltips.
Yeah, that helps with crafting clarity. Before, a recipe might call for hardwood, but you have oak logs. Now, the tooltip just explicitly says hardwood. It prevents that alt-tab to the wiki moment.
Simple, but effective. Now, I want to rewind just a couple of days to January 14th. This was the hotfix day, only 24 hours after launch.
Right. While Update 1 was about content and balance, the hotfix was about stopping the game from actually crashing.
My favorite fix here was the Norwegian Fix.
Yes. Fixed an issue preventing our Norwegian friends from launching the game.
What goes wrong in the code that it specifically targets Norway?
It was almost certainly a localization loop or a date-time format thing. The game tries to load the system language, sees a character it doesn't recognize, and just crashes. Classic software gremlin.
But the fact they fixed it in 24 hours is impressive. And there was also a crash related to hairstyles.
If you selected certain bangs and paired them with specific eyebrows,
Fashion is dangerous in Hytale.
it was fatal. And there was a crash if you took a screenshot and your folder name had non-English characters. These are those raw bugs. The legacy engine hasn't been stress tested on millions of PCs until this week.
Right, you find all the edge cases instantly. And one major improvement in that hotfix was authentication.
Crucial. On launch day, if the Auth servers blinked, players were getting locked out completely. The hotfix changed it so the game switches to offline mode if Auth fails.
That's a lifesaver for people with spotty internet. And it's a very pro-consumer move.
It is. It shows they're prioritizing playability.
Yeah.
They want you playing, not staring at a login screen.
So we've covered the past, the engine switch. We've covered the present, the patch notes. What about the future?
This brings us to the community. Modding.
It was available on day one, which is rare.
Incredibly rare. Usually, developers hide their tools like they're nuclear secrets. Hytale just released them immediately.
What?
Because the blog post emphasized that modding is the foundation of longevity.
Foundation of longevity. That's a strong phrase.
It is. By releasing the tools now, they're basically outsourcing content creation to the community while they finish the core game. They want the community to build the mini-games, the custom servers.
So while the devs are fixing drowning skeletons, the community is building the actual content ecosystem.
Exactly. Remember, Simon and Philippe come from the modding scene. They know better than anyone that the community keeps a game alive for a decade, not the developers.
And regarding the timeline, we're not looking at a full release anytime soon.
Definitely not. The document says early access is expected to last at least a few years. They're in no rush for 1.0.
The forever game.
Right. They're not building a game to ship and move on. They're building a platform. And that 10 years of personal funding means they don't have a publisher demanding a Q4 release.
That is the ultimate luxury in this industry.
It is. It allows them to make these difficult decisions without fear of being shut down.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, right now? If you're playing Hytale today, what are you actually a part of?
You're a part of a collaborative development process. That's the takeaway. This isn't a finished product you bought off a shelf. You are a tester. You're part of the feedback loop.
You're in the trenches with them.
You are. And honestly, that can be frustrating. You'll lose items. You'll crash because of your eyebrows. The servers will wipe your progress.
Okay.
But you also get to see the game evolve in real time.
It's exciting in a messy kind of way.
It is. It's raw.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to circle back to that visual contrast. As you see in the footage, the world gen is beautiful, the sunsets are stunning, but the reality is in the patch notes, that contrast really defines this whole week.
I agree. And it raises a question for everyone listening.
What's that?
I want you to consider this. Is the value of Hytale right now in the gameplay itself? Punching trees, fighting dinos, or is the value in the rare opportunity to watch a studio rebuild a game from the ground up in real time?
That's a deep question. Are we playing a game or are we watching a documentary unfold interactively?
Maybe a bit of both. But if you're expecting a polished gem, you're in the wrong place. If you're here for the journey, it's going to be a wild ride.
Well, I'm definitely here for the journey and to see what happens when those skeletons finally learn to swim properly.
Just watch your back at the river crossing.
I will. That is all we have time for today. A huge thank you to everyone tuning in for this Day 6 check-in.
Keep checking those patch notes.
And remember, if you want the full breakdown, the side-by-side comparison of everything we talked about, go check out MMMOs.com for the full Hytale versus Minecraft comparison.
It's worth a read.
We'll catch you in the next deep dive.
See you there.